Index is a very safe place. Why? You have an opportunity to be in a mirror of it versus actually being inside the market itself. That's why insurance is so important. If you had, let's say you had an IUL, right? Versus the market right now and forever, a 401k. Let me ask you a question. What's a 401k? A 401k is just a tax code given by the IRS to tax you on your harvest, not on your seed. So it is a tax code. So where's your savings plan? And 401k was actually made in the 1980s during the Reagan era for rich CEOs to have a tax shelter somewhere to put their money into over time. But what they found out was if I could take the middle class and put all their money in this one bucket called the 401k, we can get more tax off them later on in life and collect more from them than we would be taxing on their seed. So how did that become a savings plan for your retirement when now the 401k is outdated because every 2008, 2012, and 2021, now 2022, the market is down. Doesn't make sense, does it? That's why life insurance makes you richer or wealthier than any other instrument on the planet. Why? You can't be sued for it, right? Number two, you're gonna always have money coming in with it. When the market goes down, your money is locked into what the percentage rate was when you got it. So that means if you had 13% and the market tanked 10%, how much are you keeping? You're actually keeping the full 13%. So when the market goes back up again, you get all the gains, you never get a loss. So you have an index, right? So now you're growing cash value over time with compounded interest, which is gonna make you more money tax-free through another tax code called 7702 of the IRS. That way, now you're retiring with a tax-free income for the rest of your life, plus leave a death benefit for your children's children. Therefore, now you're leaving now generational wealth. How can you make me do anything when I have options? Here's the problem most people get messed up. When they're going to a new job, right? HR puts all this paperwork in front of you and say, hey, this paperwork here, we with XYZ company, and here's what our 401k with. You can put 6% in your 401k and we're gonna match you 6%, right? Let me ask you a question. Is HR your financial advisor? How about your financial planner? So how do you know what to put into on that form? All you know is you're giving away 6% of your income to somebody that you trusted with a brand name. What happened when that brand name failed you? Do you blame HR for that? Do you call the company that actually put you in that fund? That's why financial literacy needs to be taught in America more now than ever. That's why I'm telling you right now that the 401k is dead. Hope y'all got that on. You need to have another asset, i.e. life insurance, IUL versus whole life insurance. Why? Why IUL versus whole life? Because a whole life policy will come with a fixed rate of maybe 3 to 4%, what IUL policy can be done at 6.17%, and there's no cap on that money if it's done correctly. That's why an IUL will always outpace any whole life policy. It will even outpace anybody doing internet banking. Yeah, so now when you want to talk about a recession, do anybody know what a recession is? That's 2 quarters of negative growth in your GDP. Two negative quarters. So we are officially in a recession July 1st. That makes sense? Now, how do you outpace that? How do you outpace the recession? How do you outpace inflation? Well, inflation is at 9.1%. So let me ask you a question. Is your money more valuable today than it was yesterday?
No.
Well, exactly. So how are you going to outpace inflation? What vehicles do you have to actually outpace inflation? It's gonna outperform it, right? So what outperforms inflation? Compounded interest. It's like an avalanche. Once it rolls, you can't stop it, no matter how much you try. Just like inflation, once it rolls, no matter how you try, it's not gonna stop until you do a course correction. That's why you see a lot of people right now saying, I'd rather sit at home, not work, get unemployment, because that's the only way that I'm gonna outpace inflation because I don't have to move and go anywhere and buy anything. And what the government is doing is incorrect. They're pumping too much money into the system. Now he's like, wait a minute, supply and demand. We got too much supply in the system right now. Here you go, how much you need? 10,000? Here you go. What you need to do now is say, okay, back up. A, who's my financial advisor? Or my financial planner? B, do I have all the necessary new tools in place whereby that I know that I'm gonna actually outpace inflation right now? 3, of my losses. Will it take me another 10 years, 20 years just to break even with my losses during this last 90-day period of me losing 40 grand? Or can I get those losses back within the next 3 to 4 years. And that's what an index or an IUL would do for you over time. It will outpace the inflation what you have now. Also, it would get you back the gains you lost in a quicker time than you would have to do with a 401k, where it would take you probably 5 to 10 years to get the money you lost back. Where an IUL, if it's properly funded right, you get those back in 3 to 5 years. Because with compounded interest, it can outpace inflation. Mathematics a lot of people do. Something called the rule of 72. Einstein actually came up with this concept of rule of 72. I mean, you divide the number of years, it takes your money to double. So if you say you want to make money double in 1 year, it takes 1 times 72, it takes your money to double 72 years. That makes sense? So as in the interest rate as it's concerned. So if you're making money at a 1% interest, right? It'll take your money 72 years for it to double. So you divide that, so let's say 3%. How long would it take your money to double? 3%. So you're looking at 3% divided by 72 years. So you're 3% divided by 72, that's 2, 6, so you got 24 years for your money to double. What if you had it at 6% interest? It's compounding. What about 9? What about 12 years divided by 72? Wouldn't it not be 6 years? Would you rather have your money double for you in 6 years or in 72 years? That's the power of life insurance. Life insurance is not death insurance. The proper life insurance is when you're actually going to live and actually use it during the time of yourself living. That's why companies like JCPenney, companies like Wells Fargo, Bank of America, all these big institutions have 92.4% of their money stocked where? Life insurance. Why? Because they understand the power of compounded interest. It builds a cash value with the proper insurance. Now, with a term life insurance policy, you cannot pull money out of the term policy because guess what? There's no cash value there. But with an index universal life insurance, with a universal life insurance, with a whole life insurance policy, yes, you can. But there's different rules, regulations, loan and withdrawal that you have to go through to understand which one are you doing. Great. If it's properly funded, if you're doing it the right way, if you got enough portion, you can pull money within 45 days. Where did money come from? It comes from your death benefit. So you got a great planner, or a great organizer, or a great advisor. He or she should know how to properly build that portfolio for you. Let's say you had $1 million death benefit, right? And you want $100,000 to buy new camera equipment, stuff like that. So you pull $100,000 from the death benefit as a loan or withdrawal, or I teach you terminology later on that, right? How much you have left in your death benefit? Great. And how much compound interest are you still getting on that $100,000 you pulled out? Whatever it is, 6%, 7%, you're still getting compounded interest on that money you pulled out. Here's why. It acts as if though you never pulled that money out because you're still paying on that policy. So if you shall pass away from this, what do your family get? The $1 million or the 900,000? Because you got 100,000 you already taken out. That's the power. This thing can outplace and outpace infinite banking all day, twice on Sunday. Why would you put yourself in debt when you got an asset over here? But here, with the IUL, over time, you wouldn't have to pay that money back because it's yours. It depends on their age, their health, what can they afford. Me, I always meet you where you are at. Let's say an IUL is not for you. Let's say you can only afford $50 a month for you and your child together, but you're young, 27, 28 years old. I could probably get you $1 million policy with a term rider for your daughter. As a term, it has no cash value, but it still builds wealth for you because if you shall pass away, your daughter will inherit that money in a trust over time. Then she will understand, like, mama left this for me, so I have $1 million left over here, and that $1 million is going to actually grow because it'll be in a trust. It's going to grow. So then her children, that means your child and your grandkids' kids are going to live off that money for the rest of their lives. If you found this information useful, hit the subscribe button for new content coming soon.